I've been getting a lot of calls from young people who work asset protection in retail. Now, obviously, New York City's changed quite a bit. Shoplifting has gone up significantly in New York City. I don't know about New York State, but in New York City, it has. Probably not the same as in San Francisco. Not the apocalypse that you hear about in the West Coast, but it's become significant, and a lot of retail establishments have increased their asset protection personnel. But historically, when I used to work at Circuit City, got 20 years ago now, they would tell you, hey, if you ID somebody stealing, trail them, don't leave the store. We'll ID them on the camera, and we'll take it to the police. And that was the approach. Now, some retail establishments are telling asset protection people to try to grab thieves, which terrible idea. It's a great way to get stabbed. But that being said, also seems to have criminal consequences, because if you get in an assault situation, you leave the store, all these things, you can easily be charged. The NYPD is not going to necessarily say, oh, well, your asset protection, I guess you can just go ahead and tackle people. Like, that's not really how they're going to think. And further, as an employment attorney, I'm seeing this issue where a lot of these asset protection people are African-American. And as we know, and certainly I believe, our criminal justice system is not particularly kind to African-Americans. So there's this added racial inequity issue going on. If you are an asset protection personnel employee, can they intercede physically if someone's robbing the store? What do you recommend?
Well, here's the problem, is that New York is the exact opposite of a state like Florida or Texas, which are known as stand your ground states, where the concept of self-defense is given a very, very broad interpretation. It is extremely lenient as far as how it's imposed. New York is the exact opposite. It's kind of a running joke amongst the criminal defense community in New York that it is almost this. I don't mean this literally, but it's almost impossible to convince a prosecutor that one of your clients acted in self-defense. You are always going to get arrested if you hit somebody. You will wind up having to go through the entire court system, possibly all the way through a jury trial. If you are going to stick by a claim of self-defense, the government is going to make your life absolutely miserable, even if you are 100% in the right. And one of the problems with New York's self-defense statute is it requires, number one, you must retreat, and number two, it requires proportionality. So let's just talk about proportionality. You have somebody that's stealing, I don't know, $20 worth of stuff in a store, and you grab them by the wrist and they struggle away, and then you throw them to the floor and it breaks one of their fingers. And in the state of New York, you just committed an assault, and it was not justified as self-defense because you did not act proportionally. Your actions resulted in serious physical injury in the form of a broken bone to somebody that was committing a petty larceny misdemeanor. So if you're going to take one of these jobs, you need to have a very serious conversation with your employer. Hey, what am I allowed to do? And does this company have my back? Will you defend me? And will you or someone else basically defend me in court? If I'm going to go after these people, what do you want me to do? What do you expect? And if the answer is we don't have your back and we expect you to use whatever force you deem necessary, they're basically cutting you loose and placing you at the mercy of the criminal justice system. And I would not take that job because, like I said, New York's self-defense statute is kind of a joke.
It really is. I've said it on the channel before. I worked as a bouncer for about a decade through law school. In fact, Michael used to come to one of the bars I worked at.
I did. That was fun.
Have a couple of real unpleasant nights, frankly, if I recall. And one of the things that I would do, and that I would tell the other, it's a different world, right? If you're an off-duty police officer and you're working as a bouncer, that's a very different thing than if you're what I was, or an off-duty firefighter working as a bouncer. It's just not, these two things are not the same. And for the people who were not off-duty police officers, it was very important that we get hurt before we fight back. And I can, I joke around getting punched in the face for $25 an hour. But that's kind of what it was. You are eating that first punch. I assure you. It's just, it's the game. And would I do it again? No, I wouldn't. And I understand why people take those jobs. I know why I had to take that job, right? But it's not worth it. I would almost tell you, if you want to take the job and the first time somebody robs a store and goes to run out, you say, well, I'm not gonna get in a fight over this $500 piece of whatever, this PS30, whatever it is, PlayStation. I'm not going to get stabbed for this, and I'm not going to get arrested for this, because I don't think these retailers, they're not going to buy you an attorney. At least I knew the bars I worked for, I knew I could count on them to pay for an attorney. Not much else. Free drinks and an attorney, better than nothing. But I don't think these, I'm not saying you're working at Target, they're not going to hire you an attorney. I just don't believe it.
Nothing corporate is going to have your back. You might find a nice bar owner, like you said, who's a private citizen, and maybe they have connections to the police or the Chamber of Commerce that can help you out. But there's no company, there's no major corporation that's going to have your back. They're going to fire you, throw you under the bus, and say, we have no idea. We told them to stop people. We didn't tell them to break that person's wrist by accident. And the way the assault statutes in New York work is it doesn't really even matter who threw the first punch or what happens. It's whoever has more blood on them at the time is the one who's going to win that case, and the other person's getting arrested. So you could be like Jackie Chan, and the guy takes a shot at you, you dodge it perfectly and then hit him once and he falls to the ground. You're going to get arrested because you didn't wind up getting injured and the other guy did. So good luck with that. It's not worth a retail job. It's really not.
It's not. People would look at me like I was an insane person. I would say, listen, you got to get hurt before you can really do something about it. And people look at you like you're an insane person. Like, I'm not getting hurt.
Right. You shouldn't have to get hurt, but that's the way it is. And that's why that's not worth it.
Yeah. It's a strange game being a bouncer or a retail asset protection person in New York. Wouldn't recommend it. Certainly. Any parting thoughts for these folks, Mike?
No, just don't do anything stupid. But if you do, call me.
Anything you're seeing in the world in New York these days that you should tell people about?
I was gonna say that retail theft thing is getting a little bit crazy, not necessarily even just for store workers, but just if you're a civilian and you're in a store and you see something going down, you need to leave. Like, it could get bad. There have been incidents of people getting stabbed, people getting like inadvertently knocked over while two people are fighting to try to stop somebody from shoplifting. It is not something you want to be involved in. So just be on the lookout if you're in a store and something gets loud. If you start hearing loud noises and yelling, just get out. You don't want to be around for that.
Yeah. We without any identifying characteristics, we did some work for a gentleman who is, like, we'll say professional athlete adjacent. And he was in a shop, and I think he thought he was going to clothesline the guy. Don't do it.
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
Especially that. Do not try to be a hero, because you'll either get yourself hurt or you'll get yourself arrested for intervening and hitting somebody. And then they'll be like, what happened? Well, I hit that guy. Oh, you're under arrest for assault. Congratulations. You just made your life much more difficult.
Also, the taking the cell phone out thing, that is dangerous. If you're going to hold your cell phone up and videotape somebody, that person's not dumb. They see what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're
making yourself, there's actually nothing illegal about holding a cell phone up and videoing something, but it really does piss people off, and you're making yourself a target.
Yeah. No, you are asking to have a bad day in a variety of ways. And I'm not saying, oh, crime is good or anything like that, but I am saying that retailer doesn't care about you, and they're not going to do anything for you. So, be real, right?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Anything else we should talk about?
No, man. I'm all good.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for coming on, Mike. I really appreciate you. Everybody, if you get in trouble, be good. Don't be stupid. But if we're all a little stupid sometimes, call Mike. Trust me.
Thank you very much for your endorsement, man.
Sincerely. I mean it from the depths of my personal experience. Take care, everybody.
Cheers.